on, everybody? I go by Philly Mike, and this is another episode of the Battle Birds podcast pregame, and we got a good one today. Eagles Giants, only the second division game all the way to week 11, and we're going on our second division game. We got a lot coming down the stretch, but I'm here with my co-hosts, and we're going to let them introduce themselves.
Yo, that man, you know who it is, you know what it is, your boy Philly Fresh, aka the General, man. Listen. I'm feeling good, y'all. Feeling good about this one. I don't know how the rest of my guys feel. We ain't talk backstage like that, but I feel good about this one, man.
What's good, everybody? Some of y'all might know me as Stat Sheet Steve. Some of y'all might know me as Steve. Some of y'all might know me as Gate. I don't care what you call me. Just call me late for dinner. That's the only thing I request. Let's get it, guys, man. Let's jump right into this cerebral content here. Let's talk a little bit about old Danny Dimes.
Yeah, if there was anything that was going on backstage, it was the cerebral part, and that was Gate City getting into the analytics of Daniel Jones's performances over the last 11 weeks. So this ain't a small sample size. This ain't a month of football. This is a third of the football season under what was Jason Garrett's regime, but how much can change on a short note. So go ahead to Gate, break us down a little bit on Danny Dimes and what he wants to do and how you think Jonathan Gannon over the season has been against these type of quarterbacks.
So let me just start off by saying this for Giant fans. I titled the thumbnail to basically say, after this game, is Joe Judge going to officially be on that hot seat? Like, I'm talking about red hot potato, don't catch the ball. Like, it's about to be burning hot coming at you. And this is what I'm going to propose to Giant fans. Y'all might hate us, but in the long run, we might be doing you a huge favor here because we might be getting rid of a dude that ain't the guy at head coach. We might be getting rid of a general manager that ain't cutting it. And you might have to question your quarterback because now you might be bringing in a new GM with a new coach with potentially evaluating your quarterback. I'm going to get into the numbers I was just running on Daniel Jones. And I'm not making an assessment, guys, of if Daniel Jones is your quarterback or not. I could care less. But I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing here. What I'm seeing here is 53.5% of your passes are going under 10 yards. From 1 yard to 9 yards. That's not even counting in the stuff behind the line of scrimmage. When I count in the stuff behind the line of scrimmage, it's an additional 43 throws. So it brings you up to 208 out of 308 graded passes by PFF. 67.5% of all your plays are below 9 yards. That's not horrible, guys. I mean, a lot of teams are like that. It's leaving you 10 to 11 throws a game above 10 yards. Where are those throws going? Those 10 to 11 the deep right's got 14. It's by far, when you go over 20 yards, they love to target the deep right. Outside of that, guys, I'm looking at the intermediate center where he's 26 of 37. And then if you look at the short center, he's 57 of 80. Now, I will tell you guys this. When they say center, I think they're just talking about in breaking routes. I don't think they mean between the hash marks because some of those numbers make no sense if you're looking in between the hash marks. What I think is funny is we got 10 to 11 throws a game. And of those 10 to 11 throws a game, when I'm looking at anything that's about like these three areas where we see the most targets, I see 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
Sound about right.
It's not always the quarterback, guys. We know that in Philly. It's not always the quarterback. He's always just a part of the problem. You got poor play calling, reach up the fact that the offensive line in New York is just not good. There's a lot to go there that's got to get fixed, but I'll say it again, man. We might be doing y'all a favor by putting you guys down today.
Y'all know I'm not a stats guy. Thank you for breaking all that down for us. But I'm gonna give it to you in my terms. Daniel Dimes is booty juice. That's what all that stuff that my man Steve just broke down. That's what that meant to me. When you look into a situation where we're coming from with a and I'm gonna answer the second part of your question, Mike. With the Jonathan Gannon, respecting some quarterbacks and not respecting the others, the mid tiers or lower than mid tiers. I think Daniel Jones is in that that realm right there, and lower than mid tier. So I'm not saying he's going to send a house at him, but on third downs, he's definitely going to blitz him. This is what I think, that he's definitely going to blitz him. He's going to keep pressure on him, and they like to dink and dunk. I'm not sure how many of the receivers are going to be out, but I did see a long list. Like they got a lot of people out. The offensive line is horrible. I need Fletcher Cox and Hargrave and because Hargrave right now and Josh Sweat, you're on the milk carton. Like Derek Barnett and Fletcher Cox have been getting more pressure, got more pressure than you last game and the game before that. So Fletcher Cox is coming into a little zone, but Hargrave, you have been disappearing. And maybe it's double teams that Hargrave is getting. I think they are sliding over to Hargrave's side instead of Fletcher Cox. But Mr. Josh Sweat, you just got paid and you're not doing anything for us right now. You are getting some pressure, but we need you to get home, especially today. You want to hit Daniel Jones in the mouth from the rip. Do not let him be one of these guys that's 81% in the first quarter throwing, getting to a rhythm. No, you got to hit Daniel Jones in the mouth, and he will give you the football. I'm almost guaranteeing a turnover from him in this game. If I'm Jonathan Gannon, I'm putting pressure on him. We know what Saquon can do, but you also had to have missing Damian Taylor is a hurt piece right now because that's kind of speed against speed, athleticism against athleticism. But Bradley, you're gonna have to step up on that situation. We know what TJ Edwards can do, but I think that Saquon is really a job for and your safeties too. You know, if you want to drop them down. But Saquon is really a job for a guy like Bradley. You know what I mean? A more athletic type of guy. So the defense should win this game. We're going to talk about the offensive side, but the defense should dominate and win this game, just like they did last week. Go ahead, y'all.
Yeah, greatly said by both these two, breaking down the offensive side and defensive side, and that's exactly what we need to see. One of the heavier, aggressive play calls from Jonathan Gannon. And I do think our offense can put up points. We're going to run the ball. No Jordan Howard, but I think Miles Sanders proved that he can still get it done as long as he holds on to the ball 94 yards. And you heard Nick Sirianni said they were going to give him them carries late in the game to get him over 100. But hey, you can't hold on to the ball. You going to take some type of punishment. That was what we were saying, and that's what I was saying in my play-by-play. It's not that we want to bench Miles Sanders, but he has to know that he can't run out of bounds again. With not 2 minutes, but like 4 minutes left on the clock. You don't run out of bounds. Slide. It's 3 yards difference. Relax. You'll get the carries to get over. But Nick Sirianni did purposely stop him from getting over 100, and it just goes to show what Miles Sanders can do in his first game back against the number one rush defense. But on the defensive side, I think we really got to lean on that. We've been getting turnovers, but more than turnovers, I want to just shut down this Giants offense. They do got some playmakers if healthy and everything comes to fruition with Saquon and Galladay and them. But Daniel Jones being the one to deliver in front of that line, you got to do everything that Philly Fresh and Gate alluded to. Make them throw the ball, dink and dunk, and be there to pop it. See, we got beat by the teams that we wanted to dink and dunk us because we were so scared of their long ball. So we let them dink and dunk us, but their playmakers were able to make things happen in open space. And I just don't think we're going to give Daniel Jones in that offense the opportunity to do it. Freddie Kitchens looks to be the new play caller. So how much could you change in a short week? Not much. Maybe play the rhythm of it, maybe more up tempo, maybe less, maybe more runs, maybe more passes, but the design and the mindset of dinking and dunking is going to be there, and we just got to be there to shut it down.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Mike, because I mean, what you're alluding to is it was a very odd time to change your offensive coordinator given the nature of the week you had coming up. That's a really weird time to do that, and that's what, in some sense, scares me in some sense about this game. I'm not saying I'm scared to play the Giants, but this is a desperate team. This team knows this is kind of this is getting pretty close to the last stand for the season for them. It pretty much is at this point. And you already removed Jason Garrett from your offense. Now, you remember what I told you guys? Remember when I said about if the Eagles were to bench Jalen Hurts, that tells you something, right? It tells you immediately who you're evaluating. Well, you just removed an offensive coordinator from your offense. So immediately, my eyes, if I'm the front office organization, I'm evaluating quarterback, head coach. That's what I'm evaluating. And it does put us in a weird position because you got a desperate football team. I do expect the Giants, with all the narrative from last season, they felt a certain way that we pulled Jalen Hurts in that Washington game. We leapfrogged them to go take Devontae Smith. Now you got this coaching staff, you got this quarterback. They know the attention's on them. They know the attention is turning towards them. This is the teams you got to put away, man. You cannot play around with them. You got to put them away. And one of the keys, I think, to putting this team away is what Mike's alluding to, which is you can't play soft zone because Daniel Jones will take what you give him. And on top of that, this defensive line has got to dominate this offensive line. And then offensively, I know we don't have Jordan Howard. It's time to let that offensive line eat because that's a good defense we're matching up with. No matter what I think about the offensive coaching staff on the Giants, when I look at that defensive staff, it's good. Like, I honestly think that, I think it was Patrick Graham's their defensive coordinator. He's a really good coach. Like, I like some of the components they have defensively. But with that said, I also love the way our offensive line is playing right now. And boy, we already went out there against a defense we were told was going to dominate us, was going to push back. We were going to finally have to fight the trenches. Hey, they won the fight. Like, they won the fight, man. They TKO'd them in the third round, basically. Because, I mean, it was over. It was definitely over, even though they scored some points in the fourth. It was over by the mid-third. It was all wrapped up at that point. But to me, that's going to be the key. What can this offensive line do? Can it dominate? Can it make decisions to throw the ball easy? Can it open up holes that Miles Sanders just easily glide through, and we ain't got to worry about him dancing because there's no need to do that. You know what I mean? Like that to me, that's going to be the bigger key.
Yeah, let me ask y'all a question. I remember this being a talking point in my NFC East roundtable, and I forgot about it until Ricky J just mentioned it. Today's Michael Straham's day. They're like introducing him into the Giants Hall of Fame or something. Now you're talking about, huh?
It took so long.
Yeah, I don't even know why. And that might not be exact. I know they're doing something for Strahan. I remember that being brought up. Now Ricky J brings it up, but now you like Gates said, you got a desperate team who now knows that the focal point is on the offensive players, right? More than the wide receivers and the running backs, it's on Daniel Jones. So Daniel Jones is playing with a bigger chip on his shoulder. Like, dang, I can't say it's the Clapper's fault, right? I can't say it's this, that, and the third. So with Daniel Jones having more pressure, them playing a desperate type of football, they got something going on with Michael Strahan. Is it one of them games where you can be not really looking down at them like that, but what you call a trap game, and the Eagles come out a little flat and the Giants come out just a little more pumped, where they don't look like the New York Giants we've seen all these games, right? They look more like a flash in a pan type game where they're just putting everything on the line for their jobs and a guy like Michael Strahan, who's big to that team.
Okay, well, somebody just said that they're retiring his number. That makes sense.
Go.
That makes sense. Shout out to Murph, man. Murph always come through, drop the links and all that, man. Appreciate you, Murph. I ain't gonna lie to you. I feel, and I don't want to feel too good about this because we know what happened was that last year, or was it the year before that? Daniel Jones, like a 78-yard run, fumbles at the, not fumbles, but he stumbles at damn near the goal line. But then he comes back the next game and gets us for like a 65-yarder. So while pressuring him, you do have to understand that he might not look like an athletic quarterback, but he can run. We have to pay attention. The linebackers have to pay attention on that, especially on third downs. I already talked about Saquon. What I feel as though you had to do to him, you gotta bottle him up. You gotta make him feel like Barry Sanders back there, especially with this offensive line. And when I say that, I say you can't go anywhere to get in before you get to the line of scrimmage. You know what I mean? Because your offensive line is so bad, you had to corral this guy as soon as he touched the ball because we know what he can do. He gets busy. So on the offensive side of the football, you do definitely want to definitely want to run the ball. We understand who we are now. We understand that we are a running football team. I don't give a damn what you're ranked. I don't give a damn what the stats say. I don't care about none of that. We line up 5 men. You bring 4, you bring 5. We're taking over them. And that's what this offensive line is doing. and it's making me question. And I wanted to ask y'all this question, but I'm gonna go on my soliloquy real fast. When you got Lane Johnson, Dickerson, when you got all these guys, and Kelsey, we see what Kelsey does. And then we've been saying this all year, and it's finally happening. When he gets to that second level, he's just a beast. This dude, he has no regard for human life. Like that block that he did, I know the dude was still getting blocked, but to put that dude down like that and then make another block, man, you got the most athletic center in the game. And we need to appreciate what we're seeing before he's gone. But my question to y'all is, because of this offensive line is in a groove, and you got, they said 10 weeks. Well, Lane Johnson was the one that said 10 weeks. I don't know why. But he said 10 weeks. If Brandon Brooks come back, do you sit Driscoll or do you play Brooks? Because what you got right now is rolling. It's rolling. So that's my question to y'all. Would you, and the chat also, right now, I mean, you can't trade him, obviously. But right now, would you, if he came back next week, would you sit Brandon Brooks or would you sit Driscoll?
Brandon Brooks is the better player. I mean, I don't think there's a doubt to that. But the momentum and just the fact that we've had so many weeks in a row of having that consistency among the offensive line, not trying to disrupt unity, and you're getting, it's one of those situations of why try to fix something that ain't broken? Like, you can mess around and do something and disrupt the actual chemistry of the line, and then you got problems, right? And I was on Driscoll, man, because I think it was you and me, Fresh, where we were like, to be real with you, I think Herbig would probably fit the style of offense right now better. And then Driscoll came out and, he responded. We weren't the only ones that said it, to be honest. Like, it was definitely a big, big narrative. He responded, man. He had a really good game as a pulling guard. I mean, he was definitely doing some things out there. I mean, he wasn't Kelseying people, but, I mean, he had a good game. I mean, Kelsey looked like a movie star out there, bro. That stuff looks scripted to me. the way Kelsey was blowing people up, man.
Man, and my ladder, man. Them two dudes are dominant, man.
But I mean, Driscoll had a really game.
We do know with Brandon Brooks and Lane Johnson next to each other, we know what that equal. That's the best.
Yeah.
That is probably the best side in football. Like, if you get what I'm saying, best right tackle, right guard combination. So we can't forget that.
Yeah. See, and that's the hard thing is that I do feel like if Brandon Brooks was healthy and was playing, you would have, and you can't do this. This is not how you manage a football team, but you would have real value for him on the trade market potentially going into next year, because I highly doubt they're going to carry that contract, just given the fact that unless he reworks some, there's things that can be done, but as it currently stands, there's no way they're going to go forth with that with a guy like Driscoll emerging. You already have a pretty good sixth guy in Herbig behind him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Landon Dickerson on the left side has just been amazing. You still have, say, a Malu that can be plugged in and play somewhere. Like, it just, to me, you're going to scale back the cost there a little bit, in my opinion. But it's tough, man, because it doesn't mean that I don't greatly appreciate Brandon Brooks, the player that he is when he's on the field, because the dude's a monster when he's healthy. Problem is, he just hasn't been healthy recently. Yeah, he hasn't been healthy recently.
So what is it? In the last 3 years, he played like 6 games? Something like that?
It's something low. But I would say, as some of y'all alluding to, with him most likely being traded in the offseason, right? Why let his trade value be such an unknown? You got to get the best player on. The same way we said, should we really bring Miles Sanders back into this mix when we've been running down people's throat? No, there was still some people questioning. You just had to do it, right? And he comes out and almost breaks the first 100-yard game. He got taught a lesson. That's why he didn't get 100 yards, because, bro, you might be talented, but if you're not going to think on the field and if you're not going to hold the ball, you're not going to get the ball. Yeah. So we got to clean up that. Rusty, it is what it is. We'll see going forward. But if he keeps fumbling, well, he'll lose snaps. Simple and plain. Nick Sirianni already did it, and he'll continue to do it. With that being said, Brandon Brooks is the better player. I'm all about if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Unless you're buying me something brand new. You know what I mean? And again, Driscoll not playing a game or two. If Brooks comes in and gets hurt, right away, which is a possibility. You know, you still got what you had. Driscoll's going to understand that. Guess what? You're the future. He's the trade piece, bro. Play your cards right. You'll get yourself a nice 7-year contract, 5-year contract with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think Driscoll's willing to take that. But you got to get Brandon Brooks in for our future, and just the fact that, you know, even though Driscoll's playing well, we're talking about the best right side of football when both of them are healthy. As Fresh alluded to, they haven't been healthy, but if you look at the games, right, we're talking about in their career, and this brings up some of the 2017, you know, everything was clicking right with Carson before he got hurt, blah, 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 blah. We win 80% of our games. If you look at the starts, 80% is a high percentage. So you can almost guarantee if them two start or finish, that's a dub for that game. How many games will they start and finish together? That is yet to be seen. And that's why this season is his last season. But I loved what Driscoll's doing, and he's low key just, you know, well, PFF is just raving about him. But it's playing well as a young player when Brandon Brooks knows the ins and outs. And so just for GP, you got to get Brooks in there, especially if we're talking about playoffs.
So I Drip was asking about like the value of Brandon Brooks. It's hard to assess his value because he's been injured. He is over 30 years old, and he's got a very expensive contract. The player, when he's on the field, he's one of the best guards in football. But that's a really hard assessment to make. So I can't really say if I think he would have a third round value. I think that would be really difficult to get at this point. Playing was showing that he was healthy and it was just a contract. I think teams will get around the contract when it comes to offensive line that are at Brooks's ability. But when they're not playing, they're over 30, it gets a little more complicated. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, so again, best scenario would be he plays, he finishes his season strong. PFF and everybody who grades offense line got him as playing once again as the best right guard in football or top 3 right guard in football, and he goes into the offseason with everything okay, right? Now you get to sell him at his highest, right? That is what, 6 games of high quality football proven once again that he goes into the offseason. So that's the best case scenario. Right now he's hurt. You're not showing nothing. If he gets hurt again, well, then we're gonna have to eat that. I just think that you cannot allow Brandon Brooks to come back because of the money and because of his own health situation. You have to move on, and the best way to move on is with the best type of.
But there was already some weirdness to the Brandon Brooks situation, because you remember at the very beginning of this year when I broke down all the contracts and I was basically making a prediction of what we could see in terms of trades, guys being released, then guys being cut. One of the things, restructured, my bad. One of the things that stood out to me was all the huge contracts. The one guy that didn't see any change was Brandon Brooks. It's not that he hasn't done that in prior years. It's just when you looked at it this past year, I was like, yeah, something's probably going to have to happen with Lane or Brooks on that line as well to create the cap space we need. And I don't recall them doing anything this season. I mean, they've done stuff in previous seasons. I don't remember them doing anything this season with Brandon Brooks' contract. And that was, that kind of stuff. I was like, okay, that's odd. That's normally, you don't want to kick the can down the road on a guy that you envision getting rid of. You know what I mean? Like the last thing you want to do is that's what kind of stood out to me a little bit. But I don't know, man. I mean, look, Brandon Brooks is a good player. I mean, when he's healthy and he's on the field, there's no complaints. You know what I mean? Like the guy's good. He's a good football player.
Yeah. But the best. I mean, it's cliche, but the best ability is availability. So if you're not on the field, you're not doing anything for the team. You're not doing really anything for anybody, except for getting paid to do nothing. So it is a hard decision to make. And I don't want to just bring this up, but it is also some things that he missed games about, and it's not his fault. I understand that this is a real issue that people have, but you got to look at the anxiety situation also. You know what I mean? Getting older, it gets worse. I know people that have these issues. You know what I mean? It gets worse when you get older, and it even rubbed off on Lane Johnson. I mean, Lane Johnson had an anxiety issue this year. So when you look at the situation, man, to me, it might be time to let him go. But if you are doing that, you do want to put him on the field. to let people know, like, listen, this guy still, this guy still can play. Y'all better come get him. And what I wanted to say real fast is earlier, Steve, you named the Driscolls, the Herbricks, and the list kind of went on and on. It's crazy. I remember, I think it was week 1. We was talking about the offensive line, and I was like, our bench is better than some people's starting lineup. You don't think that,
actually, yeah.
I think most of our bench can go
you're
over to
right.
the right now to start. Like, so we gotta appreciate what we got going on here with this offensive line. I think it goes unnoticed when we talk about the moves that Howie Roseman makes. The one thing that he makes sure is that he's going to try to protect the quarterback. You know what I mean? That is amazing, and it's been like that since the Andy Reid days. You know what I mean? With the run games and all them kind of guys, and getting it like, and that kind of trickled down, and this is what it's about. Like, when you look at offensive lines through the last 20 years, we gotta be top. We gotta be top 5, if not number 1. You know what I mean? So we gotta appreciate what we see, because it's hard to evaluate a quarterback when he's not getting protected. Like, we talk about Daniel Jones, who we'll be facing in an hour, and we can grind him up on the decisions that he makes and all that. But if you look at his offensive line play, it's horrible. It's very, very bad. And it's kind of hard to evaluate anybody, a running back, just anybody, because without the offensive line, if you can't protect that guy, bad things want to happen all the time. Go ahead, Charles.
Yep. Nah, I agree. And that's why when you look at the best franchises over time, they always start there, right? No matter how unpopular it is, right? You're like, dang, we don't got people to throw the ball to. Dang, we don't got people to run our ball. Dang, we don't got this. Well, it all starts up front. And that's why you see, again, the Bucks, once they got Tom Brady, they made sure they got the offensive line fixed, right? Chiefs, they spent everything on the offensive line this offseason to make sure that the Super Bowl don't happen again. And same with all the good teams, right? The best teams in the NFL not only have a good offensive line, but they have a balanced attack, right? They have in place what could be used both run and pass. Now, yes, Mahomes and them boys threw the ball a lot, but when it needed to happen, they had a guy who can get them 100 yards, or they did rush for over 100. So balance is and everything. You can't really knock that formula, and it does start with the offensive line, and that's why, getting pieces like Malata and Landon Dickerson, Malata got paid. Dickerson is the new one. Driscoll, 6th, 7th round pick, and he's playing the way he is, right? You still got paved the lane. Kelsey, like I said in my video, and I'm just making a plea, bro. If you're having that much fun, if you're blocking, 2 guys in one plays, you going 20 yards down the field with Miles Sanders, why would you want to retire? Especially if the Eagles make a playoff push, right? We got 3 first-round picks. We got some money to spend where we can shore up some pieces. If you decided to come back this year and you're healthy and you're having as much fun as you've been having, now you see, imagine we get a name brand wide receiver. Oh, okay. We get another piece on the D line, whether it's the youngster or a free agent pickup, a linebacker, a corner. If you look at this team, and this team is just upgrade. If we make the playoffs and we just upgrade the way we can with what we have, why would you want to come back?
Yeah, it's scary. Like, and I was having some conversations with some people, you know what I mean, that I talk football with, or whatever the case may be. My first three picks are all defense. I need a safety. I need a safety and 2 defensive ends, because that's where the light is at. And once again, now we have talked good about Howie, right? Now it's time to flip the script. We also have been a heavy defensive line type guy. Now we do got 2 defensive tackles. You know what I mean? You did draft Milton Williams, who I would love to see on the outside a little bit more. It looked like he gets pressure. So I would like to see him play a little bit more. But then you turn around and you pick up Kerrigan, who has not one stat, I don't think he has acquired one stat. And Derek Barnett. Now, I understand the Derek Barnett situation. First rounder, he is not. But I do understand breaking Reggie Wright's record over there in Tennessee. I get it. I understand it. but that didn't turn out how you wanted. Now you do got damn, I can't remember his name right now. My guy, Josh Sweat. But, but other than that, what do you really have after Josh Sweat? Milton Williams is not and Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham going down is such a hurt piece. But Brandon Graham's a year older. What young guys do you have on the defensive line? It's Josh Sweat, and then there's nobody else. I don't think Barrett Barnett is going to be here next year. Kerrigan definitely ain't going. He don't need to be here this year. And Milton Williams is not really a defensive end. So all you have young wise is Josh Sweat. You got to go out there. My first 2 picks would be defensive end.
Facts. Go ahead, Gate.
Just a quick update, guys. I went back and I looked. Actually, believe it or not, Brandon Brooks did restructure back in March. He restructured $7 million.
I thought he did.
I don't remember hearing that, but he did. He restructured $7 million back in March. So his contract is, I mean, that's partially why then, because he's already kicked money into next year. That's probably why that contract is so crazy already. But that's the thing about kicking money down the road, is when you kick that can down the proverbial road, eventually you got to pay the piper, right? Because the guys, see, a lot of times what happens is the guys already got their money. Because a lot of times you'll take base salary, you're converting it into a bonus, so they're getting it up front, and then you're promising the league that you'll pay it back in installments. So eventually, you know what I'm saying, that it comes due.
It's not really it's reconstruction, but it's really not. All you do is moving around the money. People when the people hear reconstruction, the first thing they say is, "Oh, this guy took less money." No, that's not what's happening. They're just pushing it down the road, and sometimes that could bite you in the butt, like I think it did last year. I think it bit us in the butt last year with all those contracts just coming at one time, and then you wound up not being able to get no free agents last year. You know what I mean?
But the way it bites you in the butt is you're kicking it down the line because you know what you can also turn it into or do this, that, and the third, and you're only going to kick it down the line knowing that you have available space. We kicked so much down the line, but we didn't foresee COVID coming, so that was the biggest part of that, right? Like if COVID wasn't there, we still would have had stuff kicked down the line, but we would have been able to still do what we need to do. However, what you are planning on, what really kills your kicking down the line is when you kick down the line and the player is getting worse, right? You, as a general manager, says this guy got 3 years before he starts declining or before injuries creep in or before this, that, and the third. So what you see is, again, right now he's playing great. I'm going to kick it down the line. That means the next 2 years, I'll be paying more money for him, but I know he's going to produce for me, right? It's when you kick down a can of Alshon Jeffrey and he's not playing. You kick down the can of a Brandon Brooks, he's not playing. You kick down the can of even Brandon Graham or Malik Jackson, and he's not playing. That is what kills you. And even Fletch, as we kicked him down, we see him playing worse. So you're paying more money for that car. That car was good, but now you're paying. You paid decent amount of money when he was new. You pay worse when it's at the tail end of its usage, right? So that is what kills you. You got to kick the money down on something important. Like, look, Ezekiel Elliott is one of them things. They paid this man, and now they didn't kick it down, but they paid. That's why you want to watch paying running backs, because when you finally giving him that buku dollars, you're getting a worse version, because he's not the Zeke from the last 4 years that was running for 300 carries per year. So all that comes into play. That is the biggest thing, because Howie knows how to kick it down the line and still have money to spend. He's never been told, nope, I can't go out and get somebody, because he's always had availability. Look, we recently traded for Darius Slay, who was a huge contract. We got some crappy 1-year deals, but we got him done. He's never been told, no, I can't spend money, because he knows what to do with it. It's when what he stinks at is kicking a can down the line on someone. Well, you kicked the can down 3 years, and he played 6 games now? Something along them lines. You got to find the people who are available to play. Howie?
Yeah, and that's anytime you kick the can down the road on contracts, that's the problem of it, right? Because we couldn't predict COVID. We couldn't have known that was going to happen, and it kind of backed us into a corner. And the reason it did is because it really stifled the league's salary that was coming in. So then the teams have to, the league normally gives you an increase over each year, and we didn't really get what we were expecting to get from this past year. As a result of that, that takes away your cap space. So, I mean, we're gonna have to see, man. Like, it's gonna be really interesting what they do with some of these contracts that are kind of coming up, right? Because Fletch is another big decision that he's gonna be. Look, man, that's a big contract to try to move away from, right? Lane Johnson, even though Lane Johnson is playing incredibly well, like, bro, Lane's got some serious dead money in his contract, and he's got a pretty big contract. Brandon Brooks, like, I mean, I will say, at least when you look at Fletch, you look at Brandon Brooks, you look at Lane Johnson, I can at least rationalize why you make the decision to lock that kind of talent up. You know what I mean? Because they were very talented football players at the time they got the contracts. But yeah, like you said, Mike, the things like Alshon where he was injured, he couldn't get on the field. Those things, man, they haunt you. They really do. But we're about to come through on the other side of it, though. And that's the good thing, is that eventually you come through the other side and you'll have a lot of cap flexibility once those contracts fall off. And now if you draft well, and that's the other side of things, you got to hit draft and you got to build the roster. You have an opportunity, a serious opportunity to put together a competitive roster.
All right,
sorry.
Let's get back. Let's get back to these Giants a little bit. And I hate talking big picture, but it is part of the title that I said. So we're gonna talk some Giants, but just the NFC East picture now, right? Dallas losing on Thanksgiving. Happy freaking Thanksgiving. I was going at it all the day after Thanksgiving on Twitter with Cowboys fans because they didn't like what I had to say. But they
shout out to Deshaun Jackson, another 50-yard bomb
against the Cowboys. He's a Cowboy killer. But yeah, so this is a very important game. Before we can talk how we play into possibly winning the East, what is your thoughts on that and just the remaining schedules and just the overlook of a possible Eagles and Cowboys race to the end?
I think you got to add Washington.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think you got to add Washington into that. Huh?
Unless they lose to the Seattle today.
Yeah,
they play Monday.
Monday. I think they're Monday.
Yeah,
Monday.
Yeah. I mean, if Dallas takes another loss, who do they play next? I'm not sure. But their schedule is tougher than ours. When you look at everything, the games that I'm worried about are the Washington football team games. I think Washington is better than their record shows. I think we are also, especially now. But when you talk about talent, and I do understand that their best probably player went down and he's done for the year, but they still had talent on that defensive line. So to me, it could come down to a dog. It could come down to a dog race. Like if Dallas starts showing their true colors time and time again, it can get very, very interesting. And that last game might really mean something. You know what I mean? Whether it be us fighting for a wild card, which I think it probably will be, or fighting for the division. So what are they? 7-5 now. We're 5-6. So if we beat,
they got 4 losses.
They got 4. I thought it was 4. Oh, they do got 4. So it's. I don't think that they're going to go on like a 4-game losing streak or anything like that. So we got to look at that 6 and 7 wild card spot. That first one is basically sewn up. Like it's either going to be the Rams or Arizona. So that's sewn up. But when you look at those 6 and 7 spot, man, you got an opportunity. And like I said last week, you beat 2 of those teams in the hunt. And the Panthers, who just got Cam back, they looked it good, even though they lost last week. Looked it good. And also, who else did we beat? That's in that hunt. I can't remember. New Orleans. We just beat them last week. So when you look at them situations of beating those teams, you definitely have if records are the same, you got a major chance to make it to the playoffs. You just don't want to look down. You don't want to look past the Giants. You don't want to look past the Jets. We are not one of those teams that you can just say, yo, we're going to wake up and roll out of bed and just stomp them. Now, you can't. I mean, you can be, but you're not. Not right now. You got to work for everything that you got and that you want coming to you. You know what I mean? So if you basically just keep doing what you're doing, the quarterbacks that you got to face, your best one is Heineke. If we're not playing Dak, So I think you're going to see a whole lot of pressure the rest of this game. I mean, the rest of this year. Slade playing this game means so much. We seen how different he played when McPherson was in there. He went back to
Scared.
everything was just catch the ball and then we'll try to tackle you instead of playing press man. And I do understand where you're coming from because it's a big drop off from Slade and Nelson. And it's not even close. Like, it's a big drop off. So Nelson being your best cornerback, I do understand, but it's not like you still got to find other ways to get pressure. So it's so big that Slade is able to play and he passed concussion protocol, because I think we're going to see more press man and more pressure, especially with these quarterbacks we got coming up. Who knows who we're going to face next week? I don't know if Trevor Lawrence is coming back. I don't know if y'all heard anything about the dude or whatever.
You mean Zach Wilson?
Zach Wilson. I keep saying Trevor Lawrence for some reason. I don't know if Zach Wilson is coming back, but you got Daniel Jones twice. You got Nate Herbert twice, and you got whoever I don't know. Is it going to be the guy? It would be so great if it was Joe Flacco. I ain't even gonna lie to you. You get rid of and then you get the plane. You know what I mean?
I would love to play Flacco. Just for GP. Just for GP.
You and me
if he beat us though, I'd be pissed. Shout out to Asia Robertson though with a $10 super chat. Great New York fan in general. Probably the coolest one that I know. Yes. What's good, Philly Mike? Yo, that Philly Fresh. I know my team is not going anywhere, but for once in a lifetime, I want to beat your team so bad. In all seriousness, good luck with your team. I appreciate it. And hey, you know, you got a dub on us last year. That was the first in a long time, right? And that's what had the Giants fans throughout the whole offseason optimistic. You know, y'all spent a lot of money. You know, unfortunate things have happened to your team. And now, you know, we're here. We're all here, right? Eagles didn't have a good start of the season anyways, but there's a difference level of play that gets awarded when you go against your division opponents, right? We've seen that, right? We've seen the Patriots for their 20 years of greatness lose to a Jets team, to a Dolphins team, to a Buffalo team. We've seen an Eagles team who was hot lose to a crappy Dallas team and vice versa. So there's always something different when you play a division team. And especially when you got like a retiring of a great number and just a mix and match. So I just need the Eagles to come out there and take things serious, because even though we call them Little Blue, they need to call them Big Blue. And so they beat them. And hopefully that's done by 4:00 today.
Hey, let me ask Asia a question real fast. Asia, this question is directed to you. Do you, because we ain't talk about this, do you think it's our fault that y'all didn't make the playoffs last year? Because I know a lot of fans do. With us, I don't know what that was last year, tanking the game. I don't know what the hell that was. It was weird to me. But obviously, a phone call probably was made, and we're saying we're going to lose this game to get a better draft pick. And that put us in a great position, to tell you the truth. But a lot of Giants fans are, you know, they're mad about that. But my thing is, you win more games, you're like, how you going to get mad at us and you didn't handle your business? You know what I mean? So I think it is some animosity there, like you said, Mike. When you look at the situation of it being basically rivals, like they're really supposed to be our rival because of how close we are, but they're not. We all know who our rival. When it comes to fans, we know who it is. But the Miracles and the Meadowlands and all that kind of stuff, it's Giants fans really hate the Eagles fans, but Eagles fans don't give a damn about Giants fans. And when you look at the situation of being in division games, like you said, you can lose to a lesser opponent. We've been seeing it all year. How many upsets has it been this year? It's one good one every week. You know what I mean? And we can't be that one. I don't know what the point spread is, Mike. I know you probably do. But when you look at the situation, I'm pretty sure we're going to be favorites for the rest of this year, unless it's something to play for in dollars. Go ahead,
yeah, we're definitely gonna be favorites. I think we got 3.5 this game, and rightfully so. Even though we're in New York, you know, we've shown something. Again, if you look at the last month of football, 3-1 to A lot of the NFC East is either 1-3, blah blah blah. I am worried about the Washington games too, just because I believe that team has some good games left in them throughout the season. And again, having a division as bad as ours is luckily that we get some easy games, but division games normally ain't easy. Like I said, I've seen great teams who are playing their division opponents like, dang, do we really got to play our division opponents now? We're looking on the outside as bettors like you should be able to kill them. And then something goes wrong and they can't. We've seen the Green Bay Packers get beat by the Vikings, who are one of them teams fighting for a wild card spot like us, right? They're 5-5, and they put a whoop down. They put a beat down, not a real beat down, but they beat the Packers. But I think the Eagles really got to
the
pay.
Jags beat the Bills.
Yeah. We really got to pay attention to what's that San Fran and Vikings game this week as much as our game, because I think that 6 spot and 7 spot is up for grabs. And if the Eagles just play their style of football the rest of the year, even if we lose one more, I think we can lose one more game and still go whatever in one down the stretch and still get that 6 or 7. So it looks good to me, but it all starts with the Giants today. And as we got 287 people in here now, greatly appreciated. Make sure wherever you're watching, you hit that like button. The like button goes a long way. If you look down and you realize you haven't done it, it's free, it's easy. Hit that button. We greatly appreciate it. And subscribe to all the channels, Philly Talk Podcast, Philly Fresh, and Gate City Sports Channel. That goes a long way as well. But I said we could lose one game, but that don't mean we can start today. This got to be a dub. We could lose one down the stretch because, listen, even though we know this team has turned a corner, right? It's not easy for any team in the National Football League to go on a 8-game winning streak. And that's what it might be. If we're talking about winning out now, we already won 2 in a row, right? So we got 6 more games. Am I right? 6?
Yeah, sounds about right, Mike.
Yeah, it's 6. It's 6.
So that means it would be an
Giants
8.
Twice. You got the Giants twice.
Washington, Jets, Cowboys.
Twice, Jets. Yep, 6 games.
So a 6-game winning streak now is something like, all right, but now we're not talking about 6, we're talking about 8 because we already won 2. You can't discount that. So
if that happens, Mike, nobody is going to want to play us in the playoffs.
Ain't nobody want to play us if we do that. Regardless of the teams.
Huh?
Regardless of the teams, they're going to say that we beat just to put the string that many wins because, again, this league is a any given Sunday league more than any other league because you don't play as many games and things can happen. You know what I mean? Everybody has bad games, bad days, and football is sometimes decided on seconds and inches. And so it's not your day.
But even if you, like you said, Mike, you won't be mad if you drop one. Even if you drop one, you're still hot. That means you out of your last 8 games, you won 7.
Correct. Like, we just can't drop this one.
No. We better not, man. We better not. I think we sweep the Giants. I really do. I think one of them Washington games, I don't know if it's going to be home. It might be home because our record at home is horrible. You know what I mean? I mean, we did just get our first win in the middle of the season. But I do think we dropped one to Washington. I'm always going to pick us, though. Always going to pick us. But in the back of my head, I know, one of these games, you might catch a doozy, man. You know, it happens to the best.
Yeah. I don't know if Ed Oliver is lurking here because, I know sometimes Ed be tuning in on us here. But I see some comments in where they talk about, we're probably going to split with Washington would be a real good possibility. I don't want to split with Washington, man. They robbed us in week 1. I want to beat Washington in the submission more so than the Giants, to be real with you. Because, week 1 so well defined the entire 2020 season. Like, it completely defined the 2020 season, man. I definitely want to get one back on Washington.
If anybody knows, comment. Is Fitzpatrick back? But you're just starting Herbert. I mean, not Herbert.
Heineke.
Yeah. I don't know if he's back or not, but I mean, they would be crazy to pull Heineke at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, because I was thinking, well, are we going to face Heineke or face Fitzpatrick? But the way the kid is balling, I don't think that you pull him out. you might have your guy right there, so you can't pull him out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, Heineke's playing really well for them, honestly, and you know look. I can't remember. I don't even think he was drafted. Man, he might have been an undrafted rookie free agent. Or he was a late round pick. He definitely, he definitely wasn't some kind of a valued prospect coming out. Now, I had an opportunity to watch him play because it was a little ways back, but he played NC State once, and he was a decent college quarterback, but he's a risk taker, man. I mean, there's some similarities to Fitzpatrick and him, that they're both a little bit of gunslingers that take some risk. And once we get to that game, we got to beat this team first, one game at a time. But I do think there'll be there's going to be opportunities today with Daniel Jones, because I do think Daniel Jones is going to take a risk. I think Heineke's the same thing, where there's going to be opportunities for turnovers.
Yeah.
No.
Wait, what?
No, I'm reading the comments.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's a little much at this point. Yeah. We just trying to string on these dubs.
I'm just trying had a man just perform, man. Yeah, not even. I'm sorry, not even close. When you look at it, and it's hum, but it's not hum. But when you look at the other quarterbacks in the NFC, like, come on, you got Kyler Murray. I understand he got hurt, but he's still probably a Pro Bowler. Like, you already know Tom Brady. Their offense is like number 2. Dak, he's gonna go to the Pro Bowl. Their offense like number 1. I understand he just lost, but he's still putting up major numbers. So I think Dak goes to the Pro Bowl. Like, his numbers are his numbers, and it's not about winning and loss. I think the only Pro Bowlers that we really have right now is Slay, and that's it.
Yeah, but I will say this though, and I've been a guy that says Dak has been elite this year. I would say in all his losses, minus the first one against the Bucks, he's been part of the reason why, with a lot of overthrows, a lot of inaccuracies. So he looked bad.
That's not what the All-Star games and the Pro Bowls are about. It's about your final stats. That's all. It's not about how you lost the game and how they don't get into all that. Whatever your stats say, if your
true,
stats
but they got. Go ahead. How many Pro Bowl quarterbacks though? They're going to pick 3, right?
Is it 3
or 4? What is it?
I thought it was 4. Yeah, I thought it was 4.
I think it's 4. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All right, we remember Brady's in the NFC now, so Brady gonna get the vote just off his name. Same with Rodgers, and now you got Kyler Murray. So maybe Dak squeezed into that last one. It's close. It's close.
It is. But I was just saying that Jalen's not in that realm.
Yeah, he's not gonna. Yeah,
I was getting at. I was naming the people that they're proud. They're going to pick over a Jalen Hurts. We love Jalen Hurts. We appreciate everything that he's doing. But Pro Bowl, no, that's too much.
Shout out to Jose
the journey
real quick.
The journey. Hey, maybe the last 2 games were false hope, but the beating we're about to put on y'all today is going to bring some positive hope for us.
I knew that we started seeing the Giant fans get up in here. Yeah. But once again, shout out to Jose Serrano with the $2 super chat. Eagle players know what time it is. Let's go. Exactly. And we are getting close to that time where we're going to do our score predictions and pick our, offense and defensive players to stand out. And we love when y'all do it too, because sometimes I have to steal yours. When they take mine, I'm going to have to phone a friend. And that's when y'all come in with the phone a friend, and I take one of y'all's.
My offensive player is.
Yeah.
Another super chat, though, Asia Robinson with a $10 one. This is for Philly Fresh. I was mad, but mostly at the Giants for not winning more games. We shouldn't have to rely on our rivals to get into the playoffs. So there you go, Fresh. She said,
the crazy thing is, though, Asia, y'all got the right defensive coordinator. You just got the wrong offensive people, to be real.
Thank you, Asia. Thank you for the super Yoda and also answering my question. And I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Like, I don't understand how you get mad at us and we just doing what we do. You know what I mean? If you would have did what you did a little bit better, not saying you Asia, but I'm just saying if Big Blue would have did what they was supposed to be doing, then they wouldn't have to worry about a loss to win a division. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it is what it is on that situation. Not gonna lie to you, but I do understand that they haven't won a division in like 8 years, something like that. and they've been 500 for the last 5 years. I want to say 500 to sub 500. Yeah, I want to say like the last 5 years. I don't think they had a winning season since Odell Beckham left.
Well, listen, all I know is that since they took that picture on the boat, they have the most losses in the NFL. That picture that Odell had with his boys and some of the Giant plays,
like Trey Songs and all them dudes, the boat party or whatever that was, and then he came up. He came to the playoffs the next day. Was that the next day?
Yeah, they partied. They partied.
All type of passes that game. I was mad. I had him on fantasy, like not fantasy, really FanDuel thing. I was salty.
Shout out to Styles Washington with the $4.99 super chat. He said, "Tell Philly Fresh got it will have over 100 yards, and he gets a touchdown. Book it, cause super facts, my man. There you go. I guess that might be your guy."
Shout out to you, Styles Washington. I would love that. You know what I mean? I definitely would love that. Can I ask y'all a question? When you're looking at, and I do know that these defenses are better than the offenses that we're about to play, especially when you talk about, New York, both New York's defense, they're not nothing to sneeze at. And Washington. Well, I think Washington, their back in their corners are not that solid, but could we have our first 1,000-yard wide receiver in I don't know how many years? When you look at Devontae
Macklin, Since Macklin, right?
Since Macklin.
Macklin? Okay, yeah.
13, I think it was 2013.
Yeah, it's been a long time, man.
13, 14. That's crazy.
When you look at his stats now, what he got? 700 yards? Is it 700? I'm about to look now. Hold
on. He's pretty close to that number at least. He's at least around 600, I think. See.
True that. But shout out to JB with the $2 super chat. Yo, let's get this dub. It's about that time. We at that 12-18. We're gonna talk about Devontae Smith's stats. Once again, start letting us know in the chat who's your offense and defensive player of today's game is for the Philadelphia Eagles. Unless you're a Giants fan and you want to do that too, I guess. And also let us know your score predictions because we're about to get it going.
You say you guess, Mike?
Yeah, right.
All right, I'm going first. My offensive guy is no other than the giant killer himself. The smallest man on the field will have 2 touchdowns, y'all. Usually he gets 3. Y'all know what he does against the New York Midgets. But I got Boston Scott getting 2 touchdowns, man. I think he runs hard. I love Miles Sanders. Y'all knew that. I just think Boston Scott runs harder than Miles Sanders. And to be frank, to be honest with you, I don't even think it's close. But Miles Sanders is the better overall back. But Boston Scott, he just hits them holes, and it's hard to see him. You know what I mean? With them big offensive line. So I'm going to go Boston Scott. I'm going to go Vontae Maddox for my defensive player, man. I think that he'd be so close to getting picks, man. And he's, once again, last week, he was just he's so sturdy. Like, he doesn't get beat. He really, like it don't matter if it's a tight end, a running back, a wide receiver. He just doesn't get beat in the middle of that field. He has been solid. He's very, very, very solid. So I got to go with Vontae Maddox. My score prediction, y'all. I think we put up another 30 burger. I'm going to go 34-17. Eagles.
You want to go, Mike?
Go. Sure. And, I actually had a tweet that went off, but there were some Eagle fans calling me stupid because they didn't understand the context of the Eagles, right? So I said Jordan Howard, like soon as the second Jordan Howard was pronounced to be most likely not playing this game, I said, okay, no Jordan Howard with a knee injury. But we got Boston Scott, the giant killer, and I put a picture of him doing that celebration, that little robot thing he does is crazy. And it went off. It like almost had like 800 likes and mad retweets. But some Eagle fans was like, "Is this guy seriously saying Boston Scott's better than Miles Sanders?" Like he couldn't read the context of the giant killer. The picture of him scoring a touchdown against the Giants. You know what I mean? But yeah, the giant killer needs to step up no matter what role he has. But I'm gonna go Miles Sanders. He just dropped 94 yards. He's getting criticized for fumbling the ball, rightfully so. Still doesn't remember to step out of bounds twice. Yeah, I count the other one even though it wasn't, because it was more like a cheap call. If I was a Saint fan, I would have been mad at that time because it wasn't that much. It wasn't like the play was widely over. It was close. We got an early whistle on that. With that being said, the run game has to be a factor, and Hurts is still going to get his, and so is Boston Scott. But I think Miles Sanders is going to rip off a big one, and he's going to, maybe it's just to seal the game, and he's going to make everybody happy when he pulls the Brian Westbrook and falls down. You're not going to put a fantasy owners happy, but, maybe that happens. With that being said, on the defensive side, I got to go Slay. I got to go Slay before anybody else takes it. I know maybe Gate was going to get that.
But I'm like, nah.
Because the dude scored. He got more touchdowns than some wide receivers. Don't want to name the ones on our team that he has more than.
He got more catches than some wide receivers.
Some wide receivers. I gotta go Slay. Just another great game coming. A turnover. Maybe he takes it to the house. But I just like the way he's, when you lock up wide receivers, you don't get as much credit for the guys who let people catch on them, but then get a lot of picks, right? I still rather have a guy like Slay who will get the picks, will get the turnovers, but when he's not doing that, he still impacts because he shuts down one player or one side of the field, right? You don't got to worry about Trevon Diggs leaving up a big touchdown. He might get a pick, but he might also allow a 60-yard bomb. With that being said, Slay going to have a big game. My score prediction, they're showing Michael Strahan. They're trying to get the Giant people hyped. I still think the Eagle will get a nice dub. 10-point victory, 27-17. They're not hitting 20.
Hey, the journey, we might go 7-10, but those two victories are likely over the Giants.
Two of them.
All right, Mike, you said Sanders, right?
Sanders and Slay. We'll go double S.
All right. Look, I'm going to go Devontae Smith offensively. The reason being is that I think they're going to try to put Bradbury on Devontae Smith because Bradbury's he's a bigger corner. He's definitely a guy that gets physical. I think they're going to try to disrupt Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith is really good at releasing off the line of scrimmage, and he's really good at beating man coverage. But I think they're going to look at the tape that he had against Dallas and say that it worked with Diggs. Diggs getting in there and disrupting him definitely worked. So I'm going to go that there's we're talking many weeks away from that last time that someone attempted to play him like that. I got a feeling Devontae Smith's going to have a really big game today. Defensively, man, I hate to say this dude's name because he's been irritating me the whole year, but I know he gets pressure on quarterbacks. He leads us in pressures. I'm just hoping he doesn't do something stupid. Derek Barnett. I'm just hoping he doesn't do something stupid. Like, just don't do something stupid.
He just made DVP history. He just made DVP history. I don't think nobody ever picked Derek Barnett.
Like, just don't do anything dumb, man. Please, for the love of God, no late hits, nothing, bro. They looking at you. Like, you got to learn how to pull up on some of this stuff, man, because they definitely they're zeroed in on you. But I'm going to say that offensive line is not very good for them. And if there's an opportunity, and I don't know, I mean, it depends on the coverage. I mean, they might be like, look, we're not even going to take any chances. Like, we're straight up going to check it down this game. We're not taking those plays. But if we get an opportunity at 10 to 12 plays where they're trying to get downfield, Derek Barnett, bro, you got to make up for some calls this year, my guy. Like, we're going to need some pivotal sacks here. We're going to need something. You got to give us something, man, because, I mean, dude, you got paid. They picked up your fifth-year option. You're probably not back next year, but they did pick up your fifth-year option. You got paid, my guy. Like, something, man. Give us something here. I'm going to say score-wise, I'm going to keep predicting close games because every time I predict a close game, it's anything but that. So
there you go.
I'm going to say the Giants are going to try to do everything they can do to have that last stand at home, knowing that the pressure is on their coach, on their quarterback, on their general manager. I'm going to say 28-27 Eagles.
Wow, that's super close. I thought it was going to be
man, you trying to have me have a heart attack against a real fast, because I know, Mike, you got to get to the Super Yodas. I've seen like 5 of them. So shout out to all of y'all for that. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
But Devontae Smith has 664 yards right now. He has to have a big game today. I think he has to have over 100 yards today for him to probably get 1,000 yards.
Well, no, I mean 50, 54, 53 yards per game for the rest of the season. He got it, something like that.
Okay, statistician, damn.
I mean 50 something in between the 50s.
I got you. I mean, yeah, I got it. So it is likely to happen, and I would love to see it to happen because it never happens, and it just goes to prove that us going to go get him from the Cowboys, but stealing him from the New York Giants, man, it definitely was major. I think this kid, like you said, his footwork. Oh my goodness, man! It's and that's why I liked Justin Jefferson so much last year because of his footwork. Devontae Smith has that same kind of release off of the line, and his footwork and the way he can make a cornerback spin out his shoes is amazing. And he's just going to get better, man. But it is crazy how skinny the dude is. I mean, him getting picked up by Lattimore was crazy to me. Like the way he really picked him up like he was his little brother, man. But other than that, man, I like what we got in Devontae Smith. Go ahead, Mike.
Shout out to Tim's V with the 199 super chat. He said playoffs. We talking about playoffs? Here we come. I love it. But in the same sentence, LT going to come in and say, calm down on the playoffs. Stay humble. We still 5-6. You're right. Every week I'm going to break a little bit less humble because we're coming down to the nitty gritty, and it's time to get there.
But most of the teams that's in the hunt or below 500, you know what I mean? Either below 500 or at 500. So that's why you can be optimistic when you look at the rest of the playoff picture. It's not just us. You know what I mean? But
that extra playoff spot comes in big this year.
Yeah, and it's only one basically bye. That number one seed, the only one to get the bye. So these playoffs going to be different this year, man. Watch.
It's going to be
guys, yeah. Hey, guys, real quick. Hey, to what people are saying in the chat, guys, don't block them for talking trash. They're allowed to talk trash. Guys, like, it's a rival game. You're supposed to talk trash. Like, I mean, come on. If we were 3-8, we'd be talking the same crap. Like, come on now. Let them talk trash. You know, they're going to wake up from their dream and realize they're down 30. It's all good.
No, I'll shut up and stay in my place.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Last year, we had nothing to say.
Yeah.
We had nothing to say last year. No, we couldn't talk no crap. But shout out, I mean, we got more wins than we had the whole last year, man. So
already
it is now.
Fact. Shout out to Robert Drennan, the Cowboy killer. But I guess he's going to turn this. Oh, he's still talking about the Cowboys, but he turned a little bit to the Giants. He said New Jersey Giants stock is falling quicker than the fourth quarter. NASDAQ report. Attention. Sell. Also, is Dallas them boys go Birds. My man never takes he always gets his shot when he can shoot at the Cowboys. 100%. Love it though. And last but not least, Asia Roberson, channel member, Giants fan, great one. $5 super chat. Mike, you know the Cowboy fans are rooting against you today. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, I should say. I don't know why I say yes, sir. I was talking really spicy about the Cowboys Thanksgiving loss, and all they kept telling me was, watch what the blah, 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 the Giants are going to do. So, you know, it is what it is. Any Cowboys loss is going to bring me back out, especially with all their Super Bowl aspiration talk now and all that. I just got to keep them in check because, like I said, what can go wrong will go wrong, and it's not a one-game sample size no more. They're 1-3. What can go wrong will go wrong is happening in front of our eyes. 1-3. So I'm gonna eat that. I'm gonna eat all that until they start proving me otherwise. With that being said, we appreciate everybody up in here. I know we always get the most people right around this time, right before we about to get off because it's getting closer to the game and people want to know what's going on. Right. But we see the Giant fans in here, and like Steve said, trash talk is what sports is about. Whether I'm playing against the Tennessee Titans, where I'm like, man, why do y'all hate us so much? We got nothing to do with y'all, really, except for today, or the New York Giants, where we supposed to hate each other. It's what is meant to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're supposed to trash talk your division rivals, man. Come on, let them talk.
Yes.
Although we're still trying to find the Saints fans from last week that they didn't quite make it to the post game. You know, I try to put them out on the milk cartons and stuff. I'm afraid for their safety. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make sure that nobody got hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like, feelings get hurt. Sometimes we get it, man. You know, some of y'all, Saints fans, we still ain't found y'all, man. Got to send a search party for some of y'all.
Y'all got Steve talking spicy to y'all.
Yeah.
All dude told me he was coming back. I ain't see him.
Facts,
y'all.
facts.
About that time, man. Appreciate all of y'all for coming on, man. Mike, take us home, man.
Yeah, and so we're gonna see what the schedule looks like. I wasn't sure if I was gonna do my normal live play-by-play because I'm all congested and all messed up. I think hey, karma coming around. I'd rather karma come on me for talking about the Cowboys and the Eagles. I'll take one for the team. I'll take it. But with that being said, we'll talk to each other around halftime. See if we can do a post-game win, lose, draw. Better be no lose or draw though. And I should be live for the play-by-play. Y'all got any last thing y'all want to say before we get up out of here?
Yeah, just get a win.
Stay fully, stay fresh, y'all. Yo, that.
Just get a win. I ain't trying to hear these Giant fans in the post game. Get a win.
Get a win. Get a win. Get a win. Again, wherever you're watching, we got 351 people. We are live on 3 different channels. Remember, the Philly Tall Podcast, Philly Fresh's channel, and Gate City Sports channel. Search it in the search bar. It's easy. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we will be back all week talking Eagles football, some of the Giants recap, whether it's good or bad. We still talk about it. We don't hide, but it's still a lot more fun when we're talking about the Eagles making moves. Until next time, y'all know what time it is. We out.
Later.
Wait, hold on. He's at 15 more minutes, Mike. Let's go overtime. I got to prep for the game, my guy. I'll see you there if you come through, right?
An hour ago. I got some games starting in half an hour. Appreciate you.
And shout out to Ant Plays, Cowboy fan. He talks his trash, but he still keeps it a buck sometimes. Until next time, y'all know what time it is. We out. Peace.